Hello and welcome back to Salesforce Alc. In today's video, we will be learning about lifecycle hooks in LWC. So first, let's start by understanding what is lifecycle. Let's take an analogy to understand it better. In humans as well, we are having different stages of lifecycle. Whenever we are born, we are known as infant. As time goes on, we become teenager, adult, and then at the last, elderly. And the same case is followed in LWC as well. From starting or creating the component till the component is removed or destroyed from the page, it is having a different stages in their life cycle, and those stages are known as hooks. Now we'll understand what are the different stages or hooks are there in component life cycle in LWC. Okay, so we are having a component. This is a component. And let's take another thing that this component we'll be putting in the page. Okay. This is a page, Lightning app page or Lightning builder page, you can, or whatever you can say. Now, whenever this component is initialized means like whenever the Salesforce is start creating this component in the backend, then one method will be called, and that method will be known as what? Constructor. Okay. That method will be called as in constructor. Okay. So once Salesforce is initializing that component, then the first stage or first hook that will be called will be the constructor. Okay. Now, after that, this particular component will be put it into that page. And once it is put it into that page, then the another method or another stage is connected callback. Okay. So basically you can remember it that whenever the component is put it onto the page, whenever we are loading that page, then one method will be called that is connected callback. So first was what? Constructor. Second method or second stage is what? Connected callback. Okay. Now let's assume that component is there inside that page and there are different elements inside that component. Once all those elements are rendered in that component, then the third stage will get called, or the third hook will be get called, and that will be, the method name is rendered callback. Okay. So whenever the elements are done and whenever this component is ready to use, then the third method will be called that is rendered callback. Okay. Now, once all the things are done, component is ready and all those things, if in any case, if you are removing this component from the page, or if you are destroying this component from the page, then the fourth and not the last, but the fourth function or the stage will be what? Disconnected callback, right? So these are the four different stages or four different hooks which will be there in the life cycle of a component. And the fifth hook and the last hook will be what? Error callback. Okay, that we'll be talking about in an example whenever we'll be doing an example, because error callback will be the stage or the method which will be get called whenever there is an error while loading the component. Okay, it will always be onto the child side. So we'll be discussing whenever we'll be doing it practically. Now let's jump to VS Code and start implementing practically. So we are here onto the VS Code now. So what we'll be doing, first we'll be creating a new component. So create Lightning Web component, and here we'll be giving the name of the component. So I'll be giving Lifecycle Hooks example. So we'll be creating this component. So component has been created, and we'll see that this is the HTML file. This is the JS file, and this is the meta file. Okay. So now what we'll be doing, all those things, all those hooks that we have studied, the constructor, connected callback, rendered callback, and disconnected callback, all those are the functions which are already defined by Salesforce. And all those functions will be called onto the different stages of the component. Okay. So as we have discussed, first was the constructor, second was the connected callback, third was the rendered callback, and the fourth will be the disconnected callback. Okay. So first we'll take a simple example of the first three one. We'll start with the constructor one. So Now, how to define a constructor in LWC? You just need to write constructor. That's it. Okay. So this is how the function will be named as, and here we'll be starting with the brackets. Okay. Now, one thing is there, like whenever you'll be starting or whenever you'll be writing a constructor, first line should be of super method. Like you need to call the super method. Okay. Why? Because super method will be the method that will be initializing all the things inside that component. So that's why first thing that you need to call is super method. Now what we'll do, we'll write another thing that is console.log. And if you're familiar with the JavaScript, then you know that this console log is the particular function that will use for logging down whatever we need to show it onto the debug log. Okay. So here we'll be writing, and here we'll be writing that what it will be, call received from constructor. Okay. So I'm just writing that so that I can show you that, okay, which method is getting called. This is the first method. Then you will be having another method that will be what? Connected callback. And we'll be just using this connected callbacks similarly. Okay. So here you'll be writing what? Console.log. Same. Okay. And in this, you'll be writing a string that call received from connected callback. Okay. So basically these are the functions in which you can perform any kind of an operations once you will be reaching to that stage. Okay. For example, whenever the constructor will be called, you can do different kinds of operations into that component that initialize or send some message to another component and something like that. So you can do those kinds of actions into these functions or the hooks. Okay. Then the third method will be what? Rendered callback. Okay. So this will be the method that we have initialized. Then we'll be writing console.log, and we'll be writing call received from rendered callback. Okay. So these are the three functions right now that we are writing down. That first was constructor, another was connected callback, and then it is a rendered callback. So I'll just save this thing. Okay. I'll just show you the order, that in which order this will be called. We do not need to call these functions explicitly. Why? Because these functions will get automatically called on different stages. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just deploy this thing, and here it is. Deploy this source to or we'll just deploy this. Okay, we have deployed it, but we haven't make one changes that this is what we need to make it true. And here we need to specify the targets as well, right? So I'll just put targets, and in targets we'll be having target, and in target we'll be writing lightning happen homepage, right? So we'll save it, and then we'll deploy this source again. And now we'll see, and we'll go to that particular component to put that component into the home page, right? So let's wait for deploying this component. So this has been done, and now we'll just go to our org. So we are onto the Salesforce org. Now we'll go to any of the home page. It will be very easy to go to the sales app. In sales app, we are having already a home page. So we are there in the home page, and we'll just edit this page. So I'll first remove all the components which are already there into this page, and then we'll see. Okay, we have deleted that, and now we'll be going for our Lifecycle Hooks example. So here it is. It is showing nothing because in the HTML file we do not have anything. But I'll show you how it will be working. Okay. So for that you need to open the console log into this browser only, and we'll see how it will be visible. Okay. So I'll go to this thing, and I'm just reloading this page, right? So if I'm reloading this page, all these errors are of Lightning App Builder only. We are not having those errors in our component. So the things that are printed from our component is call received from constructor, call received from connected callback, and call received from rendered callback. Now you can see the order first that has been called is the constructor one, because once Salesforce start creating that component, the constructor will be called. Then that component is initialized or put into that page, then connected callback it's been called. That means that component has been connected to the page. And then the third is rendered callback. All the elements of those in the component has been done. Then the rendered callback will be called. Okay, so these were the three methods. Now we'll be having the remaining methods as well that we'll be discussing. Now, disconnected callback and error callback. So error callback will be the method which will be only called whenever we are having an error in the child component. While executing the child component, if we are having any error, then error callback will be called. So now for that, what we'll be doing, I'll be creating a new component that will be the child component, and through which I'll be just telling you the disconnected callback as well and error callback as well. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just create a new component and I'll write it Lifecycle child component. Okay, so that all of you will be having that. Okay, this is a child component. Okay. So I'll just write some heading as well to differentiate both the components. Right? So H1 child component. Okay, this is the first component, and the earlier component as well. I'll just give that heading that will be the parent component. H1 parent component. Okay. So now you'll be having a differentiation that, okay, what is the child component and what is the parent component. So now we'll go to the child component and we'll write same functions in the child component as well. So what I'll be doing, constructor. So I told you in every particular component, first thing in the constructor should be super, because it will be initializing many things. And then we'll be having console.log. In console.log, we'll be writing a message that call from child constructor. Okay. Same thing we'll be doing for another functions as well. That is rendered connected callback and connected callback. And we are having this connected callback console.log. Call receive from child connected callback. Right. So this is how we'll be having the second method. Then I'll just copy down this thing so that we'll just complete this thing. Paste it. Yeah. So I'll just make it as in rendered call. I can do it in this way. Rendered callback, and here we'll be having rendered callback. So these three methods are of child component, and in the child component only I'll be having the another methods as well. That will be what? Disconnected callback. Right? Disconnected callback. Okay. So here is the another method. Disconnect. Now we'll be having another method. We will be writing another method that will be error callback. But error callback is the method that will always be written down onto the parent side. Okay, not into the child component. It will be always written into the parent component. So I'll be writing error callback, and same thing. We'll be having it here as well. Console.log. Now we write it. Call receive from error call. So first we'll see that how the other methods will be working, and then we'll see that how to call the disconnected and error callback. Okay. So in the child component, what I'll do, I'll save all those things, make it true, and set the targets so that targets can be specified, then target. Okay, so here we'll be having lightning home page and we'll save it. Okay, once we'll save it, now we need to put this child component into parent one as well. So we haven't put that thing till now. So what I'll do, how to put that, we'll be using this C hyphen. Okay, convert that thing into the kebab case. So life cycle child hyphen component. Okay, we'll close it with this as well and save. So first you need to deploy the child component. So I'm onto the child component already, and we'll deploy this from here. Deploy a source to org. The child component has been deployed. Okay, then we'll be deploying another thing, that is the parent component. We'll deploy it from here. So both the things are getting deployed. Yeah, it has been done. We'll just switch to the part and we'll just refresh this particular screen so that we can see that both the components and both the methods of those components are there or not. Yes, this file has been not been saved. That's why the child components functions were not there. So we'll deploy it again now. Okay, so all the things has been saved and we'll refresh it. So you can see that parent and child component both were visible. Now you can see that. Okay, so first, which method has been called? Called receive from constructor callback. Okay, then the second method which will be called is connected callback, because the component is put it onto the page. Then what method has been called? Called from child constructor. Why? Because whenever the rendering part will be there, so in the rendering part, child component will also get included. So that's why first child component will render. You can see child component constructor, connected callback, and rendered callback. And then the parent will be considered as an rendered thing. That first child will be completed and then only the parent will be completed. So this is how the sequence of the methods will be into the parent as well and into the child as well. Okay. Now we'll be having an error one. So I'll show you error one. So what we'll do, we'll have some error in the child component. So what I'll do, I'll just comment this super method, okay, in the child component, and I'll deploy this. Okay. So we'll see that this error callback will be working or not. So it has been deployed. We'll just go to this thing and we'll refresh it. Okay, you can see that now. Error callback has been called from the parent side. So whenever there is an error while loading the child component and you have specified the error callback into the parent, then that method will be called. You can see call receive from error callback. Okay, so this was the error callback example. Now we'll be having another method, that was the disconnected callback. Okay, so for that you can have this thing, that what I'll do, I'll just quickly create a button. So for button, what I'll do, I'll just go to component library of Salesforce and we'll quickly create a button and have the show hide, write down the code for showing or hiding that particular component. So we'll go to button. So I'll have the, as usual, brand button and I'll copy it and we'll go it, paste it. Okay. So brand and a label will be show hide. Okay. So this will be handle click will be the function that will be get called and we'll be showing it, hiding it onto the basis of template if true. Okay. So whenever any of the value will be true, then we'll be showing this thing and otherwise we'll be hiding that. So what we'll do, we'll put this child component, we'll put this child component into, I'll just cut it and okay. So this is the thing. Now what we'll do, we'll write a function and on the basis of that function, we'll be having that. So we'll just go to the parent.js and we'll define this function, that is what handle click. So in handle click, what we are having, we'll be defining one property. By default, it will be true. So I'll write is visible equals to true initially, right? So this will be there. And then after that, I'll be putting a condition that this dot is visible is equals to true. Then we'll be making it this dot is visible false. Okay, so that it will get hidden. And in the else part, we'll be doing the same thing, that this dot is visible should be true. Yeah, that's it. So we have done this thing. We have done, we need to write that thing here as well. So we'll be writing that the property name that will be is visible. Okay. So this component, child component, will always be visible whenever we'll be having a is visible. So we'll deploy this. It has been deployed, and now we'll just go to our screen and just load it. So okay, I'll update the child component, this uncommented part, because then only we'll be able to see the disconnected one, because there'll be no error there, right? So we have deployed it now, and quickly we'll go to this part. Okay, so now you can see the parent component, child component is visible, and all the methods has been called. But as soon as we'll click onto this, child component has been hidden, and you can see that child component disconnected callback has been called, and call received from rendered callback. Again, the parent has been rendered. Why? Because child has been removed. So again, the parent component will be rendered again. If you will be again clicking onto that, you can see all the methods of child component is there, and again the rendered callback of the parent is there. Okay. So again, if you'll hide it, you can see that child component disconnected. Why? Because child component has been removed from the page. So that's why the child component disconnected method has been called, and then the parent rendered callback has been called. So I hope now you got the clear idea that what are the different stages or different lifecycle hooks inside the component in LWC. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you found this video insightful, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more such content.